This video is getting started with the Pico. All right, so first of all, what is the Pico? Well, the Raspberry Pi Pico, not to be confused with the Raspberry Pi, is a microcontroller board. So the actual microcontroller is, in this case, this little black square, and you can see it over here as well. So sometimes we'll call it a microcontroller, but technically a microcontroller is just one part that this board's built around. Now you'll notice that there's actually a couple different varieties. This one here is the original one, and this one, you see it's got this extra little shiny piece right here. This is the Pico W, and it has this, W stands for wireless, so this is actually a little antenna that allows you to use Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So typically I use these because I never know when I want to add some kind of a radio capability to this. Now the other thing to keep in mind is these are the originals. There is actually a version 2 that has come out more recently. I haven't found the strong need to move over into those yet. I'm assuming that they'll behave much the same as these. So I'm just buying these now because they're a little bit cheaper still. Eventually, I suspect that it'll be hard to actually find these. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about getting started with the Pico. There's actually going to be 3 steps in this presentation. It's a little bit troublesome, but you only have to do this one time and then you're good to go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install Thonny, which is a program that helps you program on the computer that you'll be programming your Pico with. Then we'll actually install MicroPython, which is a special version of Python, onto the Pico. We're going to add the ORBIT library that gives you additional functionality. And then I'm going to show you just a bit about using Thonny. Okay, let's download Thonny. So the website is just thonny.org. And I am going to show you how to download and install on the Windows. I do not have a Mac, but I think it's quite similar. It shouldn't be too difficult for people who've done this type of thing before. All right, so I'm going to click on this. The latest version as of this video is Thonny 5.0. So I'm going to download it. I see it is already done, so I'm going to start this up. I'm going to install for me. Click through this, accept the agreement. This is perfectly fine. I usually pretty much click through. Click desktop icon if you wish. Click install, and I'm back. And it has finished installing, so I'm going to hit this finish button. I will now go ahead and start the program. And this is the way mine looks. Yours might be different. In particular, one of the things that may be missing, the shell may be not there, but also this left-hand side. So a lot of times when people start up Thonny, this is not here. But I do strongly recommend that you show this part. It is called the files area. So the way that you can do that is you just go into your views and you can toggle on and off the files view. Okay, now we're going to load MicroPython onto our Pico. So what you do is you hold this button down. It's labeled boot cell. There's only one button on the board. So you hold it down, and while you're holding it down, you plug it in. Make sure that it's the other side obviously is plugged into your computer. And hopefully you hear that pleasing sound that indicates a USB has been recognized. Now the next thing you do is you're going to go down to the bottom right hand corner. It might say something else on it to begin with. And you're going to do install MicroPython. Now, after a second, you'll notice that this RP1, RP2 shows up in the target volume. Well, the next thing you're going to pick the MicroPython family, and you're going to want to select RP2. Then for variant, you're going to select Raspberry Pi Pico W, this one right here. If I were using the version without the Wi-Fi, then it would be this one here. If you had gotten a hold of one of the Pico 2s, you would pick one of these, depending on whether it's the wireless or not. So I'm going to pick this, and then this is the latest version. You could theoretically choose an earlier one that makes sense to get the latest stable version, and then you hit install. Close. And now go ahead and go down here, and it might already say the right thing, but you select it again, even though it's the same name. And now we'll make that connection, and you'll notice that this new area has shown up. And so this right here is where your files are going to be when you add them to your Pico. If this is showing up, you know that you're successfully connected to the Pico. All right, I'm going to delete this. Yours probably doesn't have it yet because you haven't downloaded that file. So I'm going to delete this, and then in the next step, I'm going to show how to download the library. Okay, the library files that we use in Orbit are available on GitHub. So the web link, which is going to be in the comments in this video, is github.com. ORBIT-Open-Robotics/ORBIT-lib. So if you go there, then you will see this. And the idea is you're just going to take this code and you're going to add it onto your Pico so that you have greater capability in the things that you can do. So I'm going to go to this blue code button, and I'm going to say download zip. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my downloads folder. And here it is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and unzip this or uncompress it. If you're on a Mac, you just double click it and that works fine. On a PC, you'll need to do extract all. And there it is. Okay, now it is very important that you take this folder and rename it. You're going to rename it to lib. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to navigate to that location, that my downloads folder. So I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go to downloads, and you will see, where is it? It is right here. And I'm going to get this guy, and I'm going to right click it, and it will say upload to slash. So you have to make sure that your Pico is actually connected when you do this. So you do upload. And then it starts to go, and it will copy all those files down. Okay, so once it's copied, you should see something like this. Now this lib folder, you can go and browse and look around in there, but please don't make any changes, and do not add your own code into there. All right, so I'm now going to show you how that you can run actual code on the Pico. So let me get rid of my plotter here. And it turns out that there's two different ways to run programs in Python in general, but certainly within Thonny on the Pico. So down here in something called the shell, you can actually type in code, Python code, directly. So print hello, and then there it is, hello. So this actually has run on the Pico. And no, it's not obvious, but that's actually what's happening. All right, the second way to do this is you actually create a file, which is going to be your program. So I'll show you quickly how to do this, and I'll leave more detailed programs for future videos. So you could do file new, and there already was one, but file new, and you can, let's say, print something here. This is a very straightforward Python command. And if you hit save, you'll notice there is a choice where to save, this computer or the Raspberry Pi Pico. So pay attention to what you do here, because it can be a little confusing as to where it goes. What I personally do is I save my code as I'm developing on the Pico, and when I'm confident that it's reached a reasonable state, then I'll copy it back up to my own computer. So I usually do Raspberry Pi Pico, and you're going to give your file a name. I'm just going to call mine greeting, and remember always to close the end with .py for Python. So I do OK, And now there it is. And if I hit run this little button here, then there it is. There's the printout. So 2 different ways that you can run on the Pico.